Thank you so much, Joyce Rosenzweig, our fabulous music director and pianist, overcoming some of the obstacles we're having so that we could all be together and begin with your beautiful music. Thank you. Chag Sameach, everybody. Good Yantiv. Good Yantiv. Chag Sameach. And here we are. Okay, so a few ground rules as we begin our Seder for the first time in this particular setting. So first of all, leading with me tonight, besides Joyce Rosenzweig, who will be leading, David Fair, our Cantorial intern, Rabbi Marisa James will be singing as well as our Cantorial intern, and Ben Dime, our Cooperberg Ripmaster Rabbinical intern, will be playing the special role we have developed in these times of internet connection, which is he will be communicating with all of you on the chat function of tonight. So a few ground rules and explanations of how we'll manage to do this right now. We are now about 500 people gathered in all of our homes, apartments across New York City, across this country, and in fact, across the world. We who are leading are all in different places. Joyce is on the Upper West Side, David Fair is in Brooklyn, I'm in Inwood, Ben is, I've forgotten the city you live in, Ben, now. Cleveland or Cincinnati or Dayton or Columbus.
East Lansing, Michigan.
East Lansing, Michigan. I knew it was one of those. I was close. And Rabbi Marisa James is in Connecticut, and together we're joining to create a leadership of our whole community. Now, there are some ground rules to make this work. First of all, we wanted to do this via Zoom so that we could see each other. So it wasn't just the leaders being on a screen like we did, for instance, for the town hall last week or a webinar, but we wanted to be so that you could see each other and we could see you. So we could get some sense of breaking what the separation has done to just see our faces. And I have to say, it really warms my heart to see so many faces on the screen. And let me just tell you how important it is for me to see all of you. And I'm so grateful that we can join together tonight. So because we're using Zoom, because I wanted so much to be able to see your faces, and isn't it kind of fun that we get to see each other's apartments? I'm enjoying that part a little bit. It is awfully fun. Anyway, there are some measures for security that we have to take. Some of you have heard that there has been a spate of Zoom bombing, which is going to be the new word for our time, which are people who are ill intent. Sometimes they're anti-Semites, sometimes they've been anti-Muslim, sometimes they've been anti-LGBT, zooming around the internet looking for gatherings, and then they attack them and fill the screen with ugly, malicious hatred. We will not be defeated by these people. So as a result, in order to prevent that, the screen sharing option has been eliminated for all of you. So if you feel so inspired to put up the lyrics for something or a picture of you at Seder's past, don't. You can't screen share, and that way nobody can screen share, and nobody except for those of us who are leading the Seder, who actually know how to do that, which I don't, could do, so that we could prevent any evil taking over of the screen. Secondly, we've eliminated the chat function that you can all talk to each other so that nobody can put up ugly things. But the chat function is there so that Ben Dime, our fabulous Cooperberg Ripmaster Rabbinical Intern, will be putting up things throughout the Seder, explaining things. If you have a question, you could put it in the chat to Ben, and Ben can answer you or say, we'll get back to you. And if it's about finding your beshert, we can't handle that question. But if it's about the 4 questions or things like that, those are the kinds of appropriate questions we're looking for. So we've instituted all those things as a security measure. So thank you for cooperating. The other thing is that it's important for you to have a name on your screen we can recognize. That's another way we know you're actually a human being and not a robot or a Nazi who's trying to crash our Seder. So please, we ask you to, at a certain point, if we have any concerns, we're going to have to eject people from the Seder if anything happens. And the first people we will eject are anybody whose names we can't identify. We hate to start with all this, but this is all so that we can have a nice evening together. So those are some of the security measures that we're taking so that we could celebrate Pesach together with safety. Next, I want to talk about the challenges of technology. There is a very important Yiddish word which I would like to teach everybody tonight, and that word is oiska zoom. We all might be feeling a little oiska zoom. Oiska in Yiddish, it's the prefix in Yiddish, which means you're over something. You're done with it. You've had enough of it. So oiska zoom, I'm convinced, is now a new Yiddish word, means we all feel a little done with Zoom meetings, etc. But it gets us to see each other and to be together. So we love it for that reason. However, Zoom does not allow us to have the piano and the vocal music at the same time, because there's a lag thingamajigger. So it's impossible to have Joyce play when either Rabbi James or David Fair sings. So for that reason, the singing will be mostly a cappella because of that. So if you've joined us for Friday night services, you're aware that this is a limitation that we have. But we have hooked up Joyce's keyboard to the piano so that we could actually hear Joyce play. And there will be moments in the service where she will be playing, and we're thrilled to have that musical leadership. Next, beyond technology. The Seder, we're told, we're supposed to lean on pillows. Has anybody learned that tradition in either your childhood or elsewhere? That comes from the Greek custom back in days of Hellenistic culture, where the Seder developed, that people, men actually, as Harold Levine corrected me, it was men only at the time, would lie on couches for their lengthy meals and lounge about while they would eat their dinners. And the Seder is a little bit modeled on that symposium. Well, how great is it that you could all lie on your couches, and we don't even just need to do a pillow, which I have here. But if you feel so inspired to lie on the couch for the Seder, know that you're actually fulfilling the mitzvah meshubach with extra glory and praise. So for those of you who are new to a Seder and have never been to one, welcome. I don't want you to think everybody here knows what we're doing. We are following a Haggadah, which literally means the telling of the story. Whoops. This Haggadah is the Haggadah that CBST uses traditionally for the last few years. And it is found, the link to the Haggadah, Ben will put in the chat, so you could actually look at it electronically while the Seder is going along, so that you can follow this Haggadah while I announce pages. If you have your own Haggadah, which is wonderful, you'll just follow along by what we're doing. You'll figure it out. And I totally trust you. So that's what we're going to be leading with is the Haggadah. And everybody is going to be muted by the host, in other words, us. So if you feel like speaking, you can't. Too bad. I have to say, I've been thinking about what a great thing this is, that I can mute everybody and nobody has power over it except me. I'm trying to figure out how when we get back all together, I'm going to be able to maintain that particular function. But if you do want to say something or want something to be heard by us, please put it in the chat function and Ben will be in communication. All right, so those are some of the ground rules for the Seder. Spiritually, I want to start with a ground rule, which is whatever you've done to prepare for the Seder tonight is enough. It's good enough. If you haven't been able to get rid of all the chametz, and you certainly don't want to get rid of food that you're going to need, that's okay. If you don't have a Kiddush cup, if you haven't been able to find chrein or horseradish or gefilte fish, or if you haven't been able to prepare a special meal at all, it's fine. If you don't have a Kiddush cup, if you don't have a Seder plate, it's fine. We will all be doing this together. That you're here is what matters. We are in extraordinary times, and the most important thing is to be gentle with yourselves tonight. I know that people are having some various levels of struggle. Those who are living with small children are living in toddler hell, not sure how they're going to maintain sanity. Those who are living with school-age children are being forced to become full-time homeschooling teachers and sometimes hold down a full-time job and are struggling. Those who are living with teenagers and nobody can escape. I mean, imagine the kind of Dante's, you know what that is. And then some of us are living alone and are really without any physical contact, without seeing another person. And that has its tremendous burdens. And some of us are living with one person and that has its burdens. I mean, how many marital fights and nerves have been shred over these last weeks? So whichever is your living condition, and some of us have gone back to live with our parents after years of being on our own and thinking of ourselves as being on our own. And that has its own special level of hell. So let's be gentle with ourselves. Whatever your living situation, it's as good as it's going to be for now. Be gentle, accept yourselves, be gentle with each other. Don't imagine the grass is so greener in other places. We're gathering for this Seder, and here's how it's going to work. For the first part of the Seder, we're staying all together. That will be about an hour and a half. And interestingly, you can sneak as much food as you want. I can't necessarily tell. And then we're going to break for dinner. But the way we're going to do dinner is that Zoom has a capability of doing breakout groups, or we're calling them tonight breakout tables. And we're going to do breakout tables of 10 people each, which is what we do at CBST. And if you don't have other plans, which you're welcome to do whatever plans you want for dinner or to eat alone if you'd like, we will assign you randomly. Each of your little boxes will be assigned to 9 other little boxes, and you get to meet some people and for 45 minutes eat pizza or chicken or gluten-free, whatever it is you eat. And guess what? You don't have to eat somebody else's food. You just eat what you have. But you get to meet each other, talk to each other, get to know what life is like in these strange times. And we'll do that for about 45 minutes. And then we'll reconvene for the last 45 minutes of the Seder. So if you've never done the whole Seder before, believe me, this is not as long as it goes. In the Talmud, we're told If you do the Seder until it's time to say the Shema in the morning, you've done it right. We will not go that long, but it might be longer than you've ever done before. Guess what? Where are you going tonight? Hang in there. Try it out for the first time. I don't think anybody has other plans, or if you do, it's in your apartment. You can leave us on. Okay, so those are all the introductions. And I just want to say how glad I am. It's wonderful to see all your faces and how much I want to offer my blessings to each of you in this time of Pesach. I want to welcome to our Seder tonight, Greg Passon, CBST's president of our board of directors. And I know we have a lot of members of our board with us tonight. I'd ask you to stand, but only the people looking at your particular box will notice you. But maybe if you're a board member, would all board members just wave so everybody else can see who our board is who are joining us. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Wonderful that you're all here. The power of storytelling. Pesach is about teaching us the power of storytelling. That if we have something that's worth remembering, it's worth telling a story. And believe me, for those of us who have lived through moments in history that have been epic, we know the power of telling the story. For those of us who lived through New York in 9/11, we kept repeating over and over again where we were, how we heard, what we saw. And the story of the Seder is similar. The entire goal of our time together is to retell this story of a time when our ancestors had conditions even worse than we have today. To remember they moved from a place of 400 years of slavery in which there was no reason that they should have any hope that things would get better. And they emerged after 400 years of oppression to move into a place of liberation. We call Pesach Zman Cherutenu, a time that we remember our freedom, our struggle to become free. And we, maybe in this particular year, some of us know for the first time or in ways that we hadn't imagined, a sense of what unfreedom might feel like, a small piece of it. We're aware tonight that those who are most at risk in many ways are the poorest of this country and those who are in detention or in ICE detention. We remember tonight all those who are struggling to move from places of unfreedom and of oppression and have seen our country as a beacon of hope and of liberation and are trying to get here. We remember it all. We remember that there are ancestors on whose shoulders we stand tonight. Those starting at the moment of leaving Egypt, Mitzrayim, coming to freedom so that you and I would be here. Imagine that. We think back through all the struggles of those who have come before us and remember what they did was so that we could be here. And we have to have the vision to know how we behave and how we act in these moments will have an impact on those who will come after us. And we are building a foundation for a future. We must not give up on hope, the story of Passover tells us. We must strengthen those muscles of resilience because we need them. And we need to be able to pass on the stories that we tell, just as we now will tell the story of those moments in time, thousands of years ago, when our people dreamt of freedom for hundreds of years without seeing it, and then were actually able to realize it. Tonight is significant also, as some of you know, the first night of Passover in 1943, April 19th, 1943. On the first night of the Seder, the parallel night in the Jewish calendar to tonight, the Nazis entered the Warsaw Ghetto with a determination to completely destroy the ghetto and murder and deport the remaining Jews who were there. The deportations from the Warsaw Ghetto, which was the largest ghetto in Polish Jewish life, had 400,000 people after 1939 when the Nazis created the ghetto in Warsaw. In 1942, the Nazis started deporting over a 2-month period from through the summer of 1942 to September. 7,000 Jews a day were taken from the ghetto, put on the trains and taken to Treblinka, where they died. 7,000 Jews a day were taken from the ghetto over a 2 to a 3 month period till September of 1942. In January of 1943, the resistance fighters in the ghettos decided that there was time to fight, that they had not fought earlier because they believed the stories that the Nazis were taking the Jews to labor camps. But as the stories came back to the ghetto that they were not being taken to labor camps, but to concentration camps and being exterminated, the resistance fighters realized that the moment had arrived. And in January and February of 1943, the resistance fighters began their fight against the occupiers of the ghetto. And then on April 19th, and the Nazis very in particular often chose a Jewish holiday to enact a particularly gruesome and heinous crime against our people. The night of the first Seder, this night, as the Jews who were left, who were secretly trying to have a Seder, and we have records of that last Seder in the Warsaw Ghetto of 1943, the Nazis entered with the stormtroopers and began the destruction of the ghetto and the destruction of the remaining Jews. The Nazis thought it would take 3 days to do it. It took about a month or 6 weeks, but the entire ghetto was burned down, and any Jews who were found were killed or were deported. And that was the end of the Warsaw Ghetto. So this night, while we're in our experience, and some of us are feeling awfully limited and experiencing the world harshly, I'm remembering our ancestors in the Warsaw Ghetto on the first night of the Seder. And boy, what they wouldn't have given to be able to be comfortable in homes, sharing a Seder even like this, and knowing that they weren't facing the Nazi destruction. So we today, as we gather, we remember that there are those who have had it worse. And it's our job to remember them, to remain a witness to them, and to be doing this Seder in their honor and in their memory. And to be imagining, what would they be saying to us if we could hear their words to us right now? They would not want us to give up. They would not want us to despair. They would want us to be resilient and build to a future. Of that, I am sure. So we will now continue by beginning our Seder with all of these introductions. But I want to point out, for those of us who are in New York City, a fabulous custom has started every night at 7 o'clock, which arrives very soon, where people go to the windows, take pots and pans and hoot and holler and clap and applaud all those healthcare workers, all those essential workers who don't have the luxury of staying in a safe apartment or house and go out every day to work in the hospitals, which are the war zone, to make sure the garbage gets picked up, to make sure that there are police and fire and all the essential public employees here in New York City, which are, by the way, suffering tremendous rates of COVID infection. So as we hit 7 o'clock, for those of you in New York, I encourage you to go to your windows when we get to 7 o'clock, and maybe it's happening in other cities as well in New York. It has become part of the ritual of life here in New York City, which has really become a magnificent one. And as we do that, we will begin by lighting the candles on page 24 of the Haggadah. And Randy will light our candles. If you have candles, please light them. And Rabbi James will lead us in the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel yom tov.
Amen. And please notice we use a special melody for the blessings. That's this festival melody for Pesach. On page 27, David Fair will lead us in the order of the Seder to remind us what it is that we'll be doing. We traditionally sing it, the order of the Seder, page 27.
Kadesh Urchatz Karpatz Yachatz Magid Rachza Motzi Matzah Maror Korech Shulchan Orech Tzafun Barech Hallel nirtzah.
Oh, page 29. If you have the Haggadah and in your apartments or homes, please read with me from the top of the page. We begin our journey through the Pesach Seder, our journey from slavery to freedom. Through word and song, story and ritual, questions and more questions, we will relive the story of our ancestors' exodus and liberation. We tell the story not only to preserve a memory, we tell the story because Egypt is not only one physical place. We step into this story because it is our story and the story of all people who have experienced oppression and liberation. The clapping is now happening, so if you want to go to your windows now, please do, so we could celebrate those workers in our city who are working so hard. So let's all clap for all the workers who are out there keeping us safe and healing us and helping us bury our dead as well. I hear in my neighborhood, fire engines are going off in order to celebrate all the workers and all the hospital workers. Beautiful. It's such a beautiful sound. Penny is also likewise clapping for everybody, barking. It's really going on and on. It's so beautiful.
It's amazing.
It is really amazing. It's an amazing ovation, just beautiful music in a moment where we are making, it's very hard to make communal music. It feels like it's a communal music. Wow, Noemi Maslia, look at that. You put a clap hand up there. Very impressive. Tonight, we raise our voices as individuals committed to marching together out of Egypt. And that's what that sound says to me. We are marching together out of Egypt. We begin with a Miriam's cup, which is spring water. Even as we begin this story, we know the end of the Seder story, even while we don't totally know the end of our story. Israel will leave Egypt and wander in the desert. But according to a legend, a well of water accompanied the Israelites on their journey. This miraculous well was provided because of the merit of Miriam, the sister of Moses. She watched over her brother as he floated down the Nile and later joined with him to lead the people across the sea. Tonight we recall the well of water as we place Miriam's cup on our Seder plate. And I want to say tonight that water has become even additionally meaningful for us, given the number of times a day we wash our hands with water. And we're told over and over again by everyone that washing our hands with water and soap is the most important thing to fight this virus. Miriam's well will remind us always that our journey has both direction and destination to a place where freedom is proclaimed for all. The kiddush, which we take our kiddush cup with wine or grape juice, and it's on page 32, and Rabbi James will lead us in the special kiddush for Pesach.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kara'anu le'avodato, v'romamanu b'kedushato, v'kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'ahava, moadim l'simcha, chagim uzmanim l'sason, et yom chag hamatzot hazeh, zman cherutenu mikra kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. כי אלינו קראת ואותנו קידשת, לעבודתך ומועדי קודשך, בשמחה ובששון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש ישראל והזמנים.
Amen.
And let's join together, finding that place of gratitude, of focusing on the blessing and thanking the Holy One for the privilege to be alive at this moment, that we can be on this extraordinary Seder, never before done in history quite like this, and to express gratitude to the Holy One for bringing us, for letting us live to this moment to be together as community.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen.
Hand orcha, it's on page 35. Hand washing in years past had a very different meaning in the Seder, but tonight we wash our hands aware of how many times today have we each washed our hands. So we do this ritually, and so everybody, we ask you to wash your hands, to take a little bit of water in a bowl, and you can just wash your hands a little bit, wet your hands with a little bit of water as we begin the Seder. If you need to get up and go to a place where there is water, please do so. We do a little of our own washing. There's no bracha for the first washing. So we're just using a bowl with water and just doing a little bit of washing with that. I want to share my favorite dish towel with everybody. It's the Rosetta Stone. These are things you're learning about me because we're doing the Seder from my home. My favorite dish towel, the British Museum makes a dish towel with the Rosetta Stone on it. How fabulous is that? Karpas, we celebrate spring. How many of you have appreciated that what we're going through at least is happening in springtime? We can look out and see some flowers or take a walk with socially appropriate distance and see the flowering trees, the forsythia, the daffodils, the little purple flowers that are emerging in the beginning buds of spring. Page Dodili, which is the Song of Shir Hashirim, which is the Megillah, what we sing on Pesach, Song of Songs for spring, page 140 of the Haggadah.
דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים, דודתי לי ואני לה הרואה בשושנים. מי זאת עולה מן המדבר, מי זאת עולה מקוצרת מור ולבונה, דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים, דודתי לי ואני לה הרואה בשושנים.
Sorry about this, I'm not so good at the technology. We take a little bit of karpas. We're going to take a little parsley. We have a little parsley here, and we're going to dip it in the salt water. And then the bracha, which we will sing together, is on the top of page 37.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri ha'adama.
Amen. Delicious. Isn't that good? Page 40. Some do not get the chance to rise like golden loaves of challah, filled with sweet raisins and crowned with shiny braids. Rushed, neglected, not needed by caring hands, we grew up afraid that any touch might cause a break. There are some ingredients that some of us never receive. Tonight, let us bless our cracked surfaces and sharp edges, unafraid to see our brittleness and brave enough to see our beauty. Reaching for wholeness, let us break together the parts of ourselves we have found and honor all that is still hidden. So we take the middle matzah from our Seder plate. I have 3 matzahs here, and if you don't have it, I'm doing it on behalf of us all. You take the middle matzah and break it in 2 pieces. Now, this is one of the most interesting parts of an online Seder. You wrap the larger piece, we're going to wrap it in a napkin, and set it aside. This larger piece is now the afikomen. So, place the smaller piece back between the 2 matzot, but the bigger piece, you now have to hide from yourself. Okay, this is the special part of Passover. If you're living alone, take the afikomen, hide from yourself, but don't tell yourself where you put it. Okay, then your other self will go look for the afikomen when I tell you, but don't tell each other, your different personalities, where it is. We'll look for the afikomen later as part of the Seder.
And for those of us who are over 40, who might just not find it.
Penny? We have to be careful not to put the afikomen where Penny will find it because she will eat it. Penny? Okay. Page 41.
Halachma an yadi achalu av atana be'ara demidrayim kol tichvin yeter veyechul kol tichritz yeter veyifstach hashata hata Leshana haba be'ara de Yisrael Hashata avdei Leshana haba b'nei chorim. You're on mute, Rabbi.
Thanks, sorry about that. The Seder itself, this part where we tell the story, has to start with a child asking the 4 questions. We have to be asked those questions to be startled a little bit into thinking of what the morals, what the takeaways are from this story. So I'm very pleased to announce we have a very special guest for question asker tonight. I'd like to introduce Acadia Rose Kleinbaum Gramillion. 9 years old, is going to ask the questions for all of us.
מה נשתנה הלילה הזה מכל הלילות, מכל הלילות, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים חמץ ומצה, חמץ ומצה. הלילה הזה כולו מצה, הלילה הזה כולו מצה, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים שאר ירקות, שאר ירקות. הלילה הזה מרור, הלילה הזה מרור, שבכל הלילות אין אנו מפילים אפילו פעם אחת, אפילו פעם אחת. הלילה הזה שתף ועמים, הלילה הזה שתף ועמים, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים בין יושבין ובין מסובין, בין יושבין ובין מסובין. הלילה הזה כולנו מסובין, הלילה הזה כולנו מסובין.
Wonderful. Yay. Thank you, Acadia. That was beautifully done. Thank you. And with those questions, we now launch into the story. That was beautiful. Thank you. So great to hear that. So now we go to page 46 and we start to tell the story. And this is an interesting question. Where do you start the story from? And the Haggadah tells us we start by remembering it without metaphor, but to really be direct. Avadim hayinu, we were slaves to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh, of course, is both the literal Pharaoh of this story, but functions in our world as an image of who are the pharaohs of our day. This is always the question we're asked to confront with the story of Pesach. Is not about just a historical moment. B'chol dor vador chayav adam, in every generation. So now we tell the story of their slavery to that Pharaoh, and we think about the ways in which we experience Pharaoh in our world today. Hardly a metaphor. Page 46, Avadim Hayinu.
Avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorin, Avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorin, Avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorin.
Page 49. If you have the Haggadah, please read with me. The 4 children. And there are many versions of this. What makes somebody wise, wicked, simple, and does not know enough to ask? Please read with me if you have this Haggadah. 4 times the Torah speaks about children in connection with the telling of the Exodus story, but nothing is said about the character of these children. So Rabbinic Midrash viewed these passages not as simple repetitions, but as representing 4 different types of children. There are 4 types of children: one who is wise, one who is wicked, one who is simple, and one who does not know enough to ask. We know that no child is all wise, all wicked, all simple, or incapable of asking anything. In fact, at different points of our lives, we have been all of those children. One who is eager, one who is hostile, one who is passive, and one who is bewildered. We have asked the cleverest of questions. We have challenged provocatively. We have simply wanted to know the answer. We have been so confused that we could not speak. We have been all of these children, one who is aware, one who is alienated, one who is direct, and one who is silent. We turn now to page 53 on the bottom of the page. The wise child asks, "What do we learn from our suffering as strangers in Egypt?" The wicked child asks, "How can the Israelites have let themselves be enslaved? Surely they deserved it." The simple child asks, "What kind of hard labor did Pharaoh impose on the Israelites?" The silent child is overwhelmed by the cry of the injured, the sigh of the weary, and the groans of those who are oppressed. Page 54 on the bottom. The thoughtful child asks, "What is it about these women that enabled them to defy authority, Shifra and Puah, the midwives who refused to do what Pharaoh asked?" The skeptical child asks, "How come Pharaoh didn't kill the midwives?" The direct child asks, "So who were the real heroes of Exodus?" The silent child sees that sometimes resistance is not only in word, but in deed. We turn to page 58. The intellectual child asks, "What is the full meaning of the expression, 'God saw the plight'?" The challenging child asks, "Why did the Israelites wait so long before they cried out?" The direct child asks, "Why did God finally hear the plea of the Israelites?" The silent child wonders whether God suffers when we suffer. And we now turn to page 61. In this middle of a contemporary plague, and I don't use the word plague as a metaphor, we know we are living in this pandemic is a plague of proportions that we have never known in our moment of history, or maybe in any moment of history, that a virus would spread as it has across the world, somewhat because we was capable of doing it via airplane and travel that we can do because of our technology. And now tonight, all over the world, people are in the same condition we're in right now, in their homes or in their apartments. People who are in homeless shelters, people who are in detention centers are suffering even more. And now we think, okay, how do we place the plague we're experiencing now with the 10 plagues that finally convinced Pharaoh to let our people go? So we start by saying these plagues on 61, first of all, with humility. We understand, as we understood from one of those wise children, that our job is, we might not be able to answer the question of why is this happening on a spiritual, metaphysical, moral level, but each of us can ask the question, how will I grow from this experience? What will I learn from experiencing this plague? What possibly can I learn? As bad as the suffering is in the world right now, what is there for me to learn? And this is what the Israelites did with the entire experience of slavery and the search for freedom, is that they struggled to find meaning, even in suffering, so that we can then become more deeply human, and I believe even closer to the one who has created us all. So we'll now say the 10 plagues, and we take a plate with our Kiddush cup. You should probably refill it if you did a good job of drinking your grape juice, so that with each plague, we're going to diminish the wine. But a tip, use your pinky, because what you don't want to do afterwards, and have a napkin nearby, you don't want to then lick the plagues. The idea is you're diminishing your cup. You don't want to then eat the plagues. So diminish it with your little pinky if you can. Have a napkin nearby, and we'll do the plagues in, let's do them in Hebrew and English, right? Are we doing them in both? Great. Thank you, Rabbi James.
Dam, blood.
You should do it too.
Sardea, frogs. Hinim, lice. Arrow, beasts. Dever, cattle plague. Shechin, boils. Barad, hail. Arbe, locusts. Hoshech, darkness. Makat Birchorot, death of the firstborn.
The wise child says, we spill the wine from our cup because our salvation came at the expense of suffering of others. At the crossing of the sea, the ministering angels wanted to sing praises, but God silenced them, saying, my children are drowning in the sea, and you want to sing before me? The vengeful child says, we spill the wine from the cup because our blood has been spilled. There was a dispute in heaven about how much mercy God should show the Egyptians, until the angel Gabriel showed God a brick from Egypt with a baby entombed in it. Master of the world, he said, thus did they enslave the Israelites. God sentenced the Egyptians and drowned them in the sea. The innocent child says, we spilled the wine from the cup because our blood was spilled and their blood was spilled. We are all diminished when blood is spilled. The unaware child enjoys spilling the drops. Page 63.
When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Thus saith the Lord, bold Moses said, let my people go. If not, I'll smite your firstborn dead. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. As Israel stood by the riverside, let my people go. By God's command it did divide, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go.
And Miriam the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went after her and danced with timbrels. And Miriam chanted for them, sing to the eternal, sing. Rabbi James, are you singing this?
Yes. Vatikach Miriam haneviyah achot Aharon et hatov biyada ותצאנה כל הנשים אחריה בתופים ובמחולות ותען להם מרים שירו לאדוני כי גאו גאה סוס ורחבו רמה בים.
Page 64.
And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every strand and every thread she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she dances toward the light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. When Miriam stood upon the shores and gazed across the sea, the wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would just pass to freedom and march to the promised land? And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, she sang with praise and might. We just lived through a miracle, we're gonna dance tonight. Together! And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long.
Beautiful. One of the most famous pieces of the Seder for sure is the recitation and the singing of Dayenu. And before we sing these words of Dayenu, we remember that Dayenu is about teaching us ultimately about gratitude, about being accepting of what we have and being able to say, you know what? If it were this much we had, it would be enough. And we continue in that escalation. So we are, I think, in a Dayenu moment as a people right now. And we have to all think about what we are grateful for as we sing these words. We'll find them on the bottom of page 69 of the Haggadah we're using tonight. Dayenu.
Ilu hotzianu mi Mitzrayim, hotzianu mi Mitzrayim, dayenu. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. Ilu natan lanu et hashabat natan lanu et hashabat dayenu. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. Ilu natan lanu et hatoira natan lanu et hatoira dayenu. Dayenu, 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 dayenu.
In every generation, each individual should feel personally redeemed from Egypt, as it is said, you shall explain to your child that it is because of what the Eternal One has done for me when I went free from Egypt. God has freed all of us from there, and God has promised us this oath. So we take lift up your Kiddush cups, everybody. Lift up your Kiddush cup. לפיכך אנחנו חייבים להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדר, לברך, לעלל, לקלס, למי שעשה לאבותינו ולנו את כל הניסים האלו. We are grateful for the miracles that have happened in the past, and we are grateful for the miracles in our lives today. We are on now page 70. And we sing B'chol dor vador chayav adam lerot et atzmo. We are in every generation, each of us feels personally connected to this story of moving from slavery to freedom.
B'chol dor vador chayav adam lerot et atzmo כאילו יצא ממצרים. בכל דור ודור חייב אדם לראות את עצמו כאילו יצא ממצרים. בכל דור ודור חייב אדם לראות את עצמו כאילו יצא ממצרים. כאילו יצא ממצרים.
Page 71, if you have the Haggadah, please join me. Therefore we should work, speak out, strive, fight for the redemption of all peoples of the world, as it is written, you shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the feelings of the stranger, having yourselves been strangers in the land of Egypt. Then the power of your rule will repair the world. A time is coming when I will send a famine upon the land, not a hunger for bread or a thirst for water, but for a hearing of the words of the Holy One. Let justice well up like water, righteousness like an unfailing stream, and then we will sing a new song. And this will be the time when all are redeemed. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. Then let them learn no longer ways of war. And let us say, Hallelujah.
Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, vil yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy cherem, lo yilmedu od milchama. Rabbi, you're muted.
Dr. Martin Luther King, as some of you have heard me speak about in the past, spoke often of the Exodus theology. He rooted much of his sermons and his teaching about the role of God and human beings in the story we are telling tonight, in the story of what it is for a people to move from slavery to freedom. His most famous sermons refer to the Israelites' move from slavery to freedom and to Moses standing on the top of Mount Nebo, looking over into the promised land, knowing that he will never make it. So we read tonight, in his memory and his honor, words that continue to be true, of course, and continue to be necessary to hear, that until all are free, none of us are free, no matter where we are in the world and no matter what our conditions. Whatever we have to use whatever life force we have to continue to make the world a more perfect place, to repair the breach, to cure the ill, and to make the unredeemed become redeemed. So we read from this most famous of King's, one of the King's most famous speeches on page 72. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. I say to you today, my friends, even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. This is our hope. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, pray together, struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring. And when this happens, when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village, from every hamlet, from every state, from every city, we will be able to speed up the day when all of God's children, Black and white, Jew and Gentile, Protestant, Catholic, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Page 73.
Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Avdei Adonai, Hallelujah, et Shem Adonai, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach, Me'ata v'yad olam, Me'mizrach shemesh ad mevo, Me'ula Shem Adonai, Ram al kol goyim Adonai, Al hashamayim kevodo, Mikadonai Eloheinu, Hamagbi lashavet, Hamashpili lirot pashamayim, Uvaretz, Mekimi me'afar dal, Me'ashpor yarim evyon, Lehoshivi im netivim, Im nidivei amo, Moshivi akeret habayit, Am habanim samecha, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah.
With that Psalm of 113, we begin the reciting of Hallel. And for those who are studying Psalms with me every day, we talked a lot about Hallel this morning. That's the first Psalm of Hallel. And on the beginning of page 74 is the second Psalm. We sing the first two Psalms of Hallel before the meal and the final four Psalms of Hallel after the meal. And this Psalm of 114, our Psalms group this morning studied Psalm 114. And we sing it, and as I said then, it's often translated B'tzeit Yisrael, when Israel went out of Egypt or went forth from Egypt, but at CBST, we translated it as Israel's coming out. And this is a psalm that celebrates coming out from narrow places and being visible to the world, and the celebration and joy that's experienced when we come out from our closets and from those narrow places of Egypt and Mitzrayim, and we become free. So for those of us who studied it today, we'll enjoy this especially deeply, but all of us, let's join in together with this second Psalm of Hallel.
B'tzeit Yisrael mitzrayim, Beit Yaakov me'am lo'ez. B'tzeit Yisrael mitzrayim, Beit Yaakov me'am lo'ez. Hayta Yehuda lekodsho, Yisrael am shalotav. Hayam ra'av ayanos, Hayadem yisov le'achor. Heharim rakadu chelim, Geva'ot kibnei tzon. Malecha hayam,
Malecha hayam,
Yitanu,
Hitanus,
Hayarden,
Hayarden,
כי סוף לאחור,
יסוב לאחור,
ההרים,
ההרים,
תרקדו חיילים,
תרחדו אלים,
גבעות,
גבעות,
כבני צאן,
יבני צאן,
מלפני אדון,
מלפני אדום,
כולי ארץ,
כולי הארץ,
מלפני
מלפני
אלוה יעקב,
אלוה יעקב,
ההופכי הצור,
אהוכי הצור,
אגמים,
אגמים,
חלמיש,
חלמיש,
למיינו מים.
למיינו מים.
The second cup of wine or grape juice, page 76. We bless the second cup. We continue the process of liberation as we drink the second cup of wine. We have experienced the awareness of degradation that compelled the Israelites to resist enslavement. We drink this second cup in honor of redemption, even as we acknowledge that it's a continuing struggle and the unknown road is through the desert.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Page 79, or Rachza, we move to the second hand washing, which has the blessing. And I just want to do a quick check-in. How's everybody doing? Can people give me a little shake of hands if you're okay? If you have any concerns or issues, please write them in the chat to Ben. If there's anything, and I'm thrilled to see people from all over the world with us. We have Israel present and Bulgaria, I can see. If there are any other countries, and I see West Coast is with us, and we have, California and Oregon and state of Washington. So if you could put in the comment section other states you're from, if you're from outside of New York, so that we can even acknowledge the different places people are with us. So you should know that we are at full capacity. We have a 500 room Zoom and we are sold out, so to speak. We now have a waiting room of people who want to come in. So as people move in and out, others will come in. But it's very exciting. We hadn't imagined we would need an even larger Zoom for our Seder tonight. So please let us know where you're from: Chicago, Toronto, Australia, Florida, California, Topanga Canyon. Is that safe there? Denmark. We have somebody at the Seder with us tonight from Denmark. Beautiful. So let's keep Connecticut, lovely West Virginia, Toledo, Ohio, South Carolina, keep coming everybody, Madison, Wisconsin, fabulous, Berlin, New Hampshire. Keep telling us, North Carolina, New Jersey. Does that count? Sherry and Simon, yes, it counts. But you're really from New York, you're just in New Jersey. Where else do we have people from tonight? From all over, wonderful to see. Curacao, for Curacao. Olympia, Washington, Pittsburgh, Florida, Ventura, California. Is that Ryan? Ryan Arams, are you on this Seder? Donna and Jean are here from Pittsburgh, Costa Rica, Whitestone, Queens, Beverly Hills, Michigan, Atlanta, Georgia, Westchester. This is fantastic. Maui. It's not a bad place to have to shelter in place. Oh, that's Marilyn Michon. Hi, Marilyn. Vermont, Northampton, Massachusetts. Wonderful. Montreal, Canada. So Inwood. Yeah, I'm in Inwood too. Hello, Inwood. I'm in Inwood, Manhattan in New York, the northernmost neighborhood in Manhattan. So here I'm in Manhattan. Eden, Utah. Wow, that's fantastic. We have somebody from the West Village in Manhattan and Brighton Beach, San Francisco. I want to know, is Martha Richheimer at the Seder tonight? I know that Marcia worked hard to get Martha on the Seder. Martha, are you with us? Chelsea, 93rd in Amsterdam. Okay, that counts as New York, you know. Okay, Los Angeles, Australia, New Jersey, Astoria, Queens, Elmhurst, Nashville, Tennessee, Marin County. How exciting is this? Well, we're really thrilled. So this is something we could do only because we're on Zoom. So how wonderful it is to celebrate the things that we're able to do. And more from Chelsea. I'm glad Chelsea is proud. Haven't been to Chelsea in a while. All right, so wonderful. Keep telling us where you're from. We're happy, very happy to see what an incredibly geographic spread we have. And I want to welcome especially those who have, is there anybody here who has never been to a Seder before? Let us know, Jackson Heights. If you've never been to a Seder, if this is your first Seder, we'd love to know that as well. We now are on page 79 of this Haggadah, which is hand washing. We washed our hands to begin the Seder, but without a blessing. And once again, we wash our hands for the 17th time in the last 2 hours, I hope. I hope you're all washing your hands. But this time when we're washing the hands, we're preparing to actually move from the telling and the story to actually moving through the Seder plate itself. In this moment of celebration, may this water, symbolically drawn again from Miriam's well, cleanse us of all the wounds. And may all the hand washing we are doing in the middle of this pandemic cleanse us of all the wounds of today's world. For even as we remember the past, we are called to arrive to a healing future. So if you will wash your hands, and you could go to a sink if you don't have a bowl, we have a bowl here, and we will say the blessing.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen. Page 80. Now this part of the Seder will be going through the various elements of the Seder plate. So if you don't have your own, Randy and I have put together one that we're going to use for the community, and it's not perfect, but it is perfect for this time. So we are perfect for this moment. Whatever you have in front of you is perfect. All right, so we're going to start with the blessing over the matzah. So Rabban Gamliel would say, those who have not explained 3 things during the Seder have not fulfilled the obligation for the matzah, for the Seder. Matzah, maror, and the Pesach offering. So, Rabbi James, tell us, why do we eat matzah?
We eat matzah because our ancestors were trying so hard to prepare for something unknown. And they tried to make bread, but the circumstances were so appalling that they couldn't make it work. So what we're eating tonight is a reminder that what we try to make work is still holy, even if it doesn't work exactly the way we wanted it to. And we bless it.
Thank you. And we bless it. So let's hold up the matzah, reminding ourselves exactly as Rabbi James said, that not everything works as we want it to do, and we use whatever we have and do the best we possibly can. So the blessing for the matzah, we'll say the 2 blessings both on the matzah and then on eating the matzah. So it's
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah.
Amen. And now everybody, you have to eat at least an olive size amount of matzah. I love matzah. The second element of the Seder plate is the maror. On page 83. Maror. Why do we eat it, Rabbi James? Tell us, Rabbi James, why do we eat maror?
We remind ourselves that the Egyptians made life bitter for our ancestors, that we worked endlessly under the hot sun, collecting mud and making bricks and building monuments to people who oppressed us. And we remember that bitterness by eating this stuff, whatever the stuff is that
Take
you eat.
maror. I use matzah, honestly. And we're going to put a little maror. I'm going to put a little of the bitter herbs on my matzah. Some people do it on the with the charoset. I do it with the matzah. And will you say the blessing?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al achilat maror.
Amen.
Amen.
Mm.
Ooh. That cleans out the sinuses.
Mm.
From darkness to light, from slavery to freedom, from winter to spring, and now from bitterness to sweetness. But with the light, there is still darkness in the world. With our freedom, there are still those who are enslaved people. It is still winter for some. Even in our own lives, we live within the tapestry of these contradictions. It is both dark and light. We are trapped and we are liberated. We are cold and we are warm. We experience pain and joy, just as if we have eaten the maror, with the charoset, taking the bitter with the sweet. Through this act, we acknowledge the fullness of life, shaded by the gradation of experience, never simple black and white, but a reflection of the full range. So now we're going to take matzah and the maror together and make a little bit of a sandwich with the matzah and the maror in the middle. Okay, the first thing we do a sandwich of the matzah and the maror. Everybody has that little sandwich? Eat the sandwich while reclining. Whoop. Little messy. And now we make a sandwich of the maror and the charoset together. So now we have, this is how my family tradition is. Now we have the bitter and the sweet together. Who's reclining? Little hard to talk after eating matzah, you know? How's everybody doing? We okay? We're a final reading, and then we are going to come to dinner time. So, pharaonic oppression, deliverance, Sinai, and Canaan are still with us always. Powerful memories shaping our perception of the political world. The door of hope is still open. Things are not what they might be. Even when what they might be isn't totally different from what they are. We still believe, or many of us do, that what Exodus first taught, or what it has commonly been taken to teach, about the meaning and possibility of politics and about its proper form. First, wherever you live, it is probably Egypt. You are living in a constrained, tight place. For sure, that's true in this year. Second, there is always a better place, a world more attractive, a promised land. And third, that the way to the land is through the wilderness, and there is no way to get from here to there except by joining together and marching. So time has come, everybody, for our meal. You have to find the afikomen that you hid from yourself. Good luck with that. And we are going to do breakout tables, and we are going to separate everybody into groups of 10. You're welcome to go off and do something else. In 45 minutes, we're going to come back together again for the final part of the Seder, which follows the meal. B'tei avon, please eat well. And over your conversation with the people you'll be joined with, meet new people. Ask themselves, get to know who they are and how this time of year is for them, and how we are each experiencing this moment of being in our own personal Mitzrayims and our hopes for the future. But get to know each other and have a delicious meal if you have it. Eat whatever it is you have, and we'll see you in 45 minutes. Thank you so much for that, Joyce. And I hope everybody had a good dinner. How's the food? How's the food by you guys? Everything okay? And I hope the breakout group worked on the most part. Did it work? Excellent. And I want to offer a piece of gratitude that I have through this whole season of the period of time in which we find ourselves, which is I am so grateful for the younger people who are being so patient with some of us who are trying to get up to speed on technology. And I am continually impressed with the young people at CBST who have been very generous in their correction of my mistakes. And I want to thank now our Cantorial intern, David Fair, very generously and patiently walked me through how to turn that ding off from my computer. Can you believe it? Anyway, it's a good thing to have young people around. And David, I'm very grateful to you. And I apologize for the dinging, which I felt like was a constant reminder that for some of us, the technology is over our heads and we're constantly stretching ourselves to learn. And things that come easily for some of us are harder for others. And the Seder might be easy for me, but learning how to do the technology to bring it all to you guys is not so easy. So I'm full of gratitude, and it's been true for this entire period. The younger people at CBST have been very generous about helping us who are in the over 60 crowd, and some of us who are less, how shall we say, fluent. So it's a piece of gratitude that I feel tonight and through this period, and it's been pretty nice to see the generation rise up to be graciously helpful as opposed to condescendingly helpful, which is another way to do it. And I definitely prefer the gracious than to the condescending. So we want to offer some gratitude for the food we ate, whatever it was, however simple or complex. And I know some of you are really great cooks and had some great meals, and some of you had very simple things. And I'm grateful to the UJA. CBST partnered with the UJA, and we were able to get meals to people who otherwise couldn't cook or were not able to get food, or were not able to leave their homes to be able to shop. Some of our folks couldn't even leave their homes to shop. So UJA and worked with many synagogues throughout the city to make sure people who couldn't get food for tonight could get meals brought in. So I'm very grateful to them. I also want to offer gratitude to all those who have helped to make tonight possible. It turns out, guess what, that live streaming and all the technology to make all these services possible costs money. That's not in CBST's budget. And like every nonprofit, we're facing a total collapse of our income. So we're really grateful. A bunch of people did step up and help to sponsor tonight. And their names have been listed in the chat. And I'm very grateful to them. Let's see if I can find the names so I can read it as well. I'm going to read out loud the names of folks who are sponsoring tonight's Seder. Sherry Clemens, Ruthie Berman, Kenneth Carpel and Ira Rosenblum, Jessica Levin, Jeffrey Weiss, Anonymous, Bonnie Fox, Wendy Marks, Merritt Oppenheim, and Stephen Littman. And I want to encourage people, no matter how little you can give, everything helps. It costs us now about $2,000 a week to do all of the technology. And the synagogues just bought me and Joyce and David Fair and all of those who are leading services, some new technology. So you'll start to hear better and better quality while we're leading from home, and it all costs money. So I appreciate all those who are stepping up to help. $18 helps, $180 helps, $18,000 helps, but whatever it is, it helps. And I think Ben will put up a link for those who are so moved or inspired to help make all of these technical things happen. Nothing is free in life, as we know, and we all have to get through this together as a community. So now let's offer some thanks for having had this meal together. And I hope you had some nice conversations and met some new people in our breakout tables or rooms. And those of you who are alone or with your own families tonight, or whichever constellation you were with, I hope it brought you some pleasure. We will start with the psalm that begins Birkat Hamazon, and it's on page 92 of our Haggadah, and we're going to do the full Birkat Hamazon, the full benching or blessing after meals. And if it's not your custom and it's too many Hebrew words, just let the sounds overflow and just think about the practical, the concrete, the things for which you feel gratitude on this Pesach, the food, the house, the things that make it possible, the things that make it possible to live. Page 92.
עיר המעלות בשוב אדוני את שיבת ציון חיינו כחולמים אז ימלא שיחות פינו ולשוננו רינה אז יאמרו הגויים הגדיל אדוני לעשותי מלך הגדיל אדוני לעשות עמנו היינו שמחים שוב אדוני את שביתנו כאפיקים בנגב הזורים בדמעה ברינה יקצרו הלך ילכו בכו נושא משך חזרה יבוא ברינה נושא אלומותיו. Page 93. חבריי נברך יהי שם אדוני מבורך מאת אביעד עולם ברשות חבריי נברך אלוהינו שלחנו משלום
ברוך אלוהינו שלחנו משלום ובטובו חיינו
ברוך אלוהינו שלחנו משלום ובטובו חיינו ברוך שמו ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הזן את העולם כולו בטובו בחן בחסד וברחמים הוא נותן לחם לכל בשר כי לעולם חסדו ובטובו הגדול תמיד לא חסר לנו ויחסר לנו מזון לעולם ועד בעבור שמו הגדול כי הוא עזנו מפרנס לכל ומיטיב לכל ומכין מזון לכל בריאותיו אשר ברא ברוך אתה אדוני הזן את הכל נודה לך אדוני אלוהינו על שהנחלת לאבותינו ארץ חמדה טובה ורחבה ועל שהוצאתנו, אדוני אלוהינו מארץ מצרים, ופתיתנו בבית עבדים, ועל בריתך שחתמת בליבנו, ועל תורתך שלימדתנו, ועל חוקיך שהודתנו, ועל חיים חן וחסד שכוננתנו, ועל אכילת מזון שאתה זן ומפרנס אותנו תמיד, בכל יום ובכל עת ובכל שעה. ועל הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ככתוב, והלכת ושבעת וברכת את אדוני אלוהיך. על הארץ הטובה אשר נתן לך, ברוך אתה אדוני, על הארץ ועל המזון. רחם אדוני אלוהינו על ישראל עמך, ועל ירושלים עירך, ועל ציון משכן כבודך, ועל מלכות בית דוד משיחך, ועל הבית הגדול והקדוש שנקרא שמך עליו. אלוהינו אבינו ראינו זוננו, פרנסנו וכלכלנו והרוויחנו והרווח לנו, אדוני אלוהינו מהרה מכל צרותינו. ונעל תצריכנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לא לידי מתנת בשר ודם, ולא לידי הלוואתם, כי אם לבד ירדך המלאה הבטוחה, הקדושה והרווחה, שלא נבוש ולא ניכלם לעולם ועד. Top of 90, no, middle of 95. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, ya'aleh v'yavo v'yagia, v'yira'eh v'yiratzeh v'yishama v'yipaked v'yizacher zichronenu ufiktonenu, v'zichron avotenu v'imotenu, v'zichron yemot Mashiach tzidkecha, v'zichron Yerushalayim yirkodshecha, v'zichron kol amcha beit Yisrael lefanecha, v'fleta letova lechen u'lechesed u'lerachamim, לחיים ולשלום ביום חג המצות הזה. זכרנו אדוני אלוהינו בו לטובה, ופקדנו בו לברכה, והושיענו בו לחיים. ובדבר ישועה ורחמים חוס לחננו, ורחם עלינו, והושיענו כלך עינינו, כי המלך חנון ורחום אתה. ובני ירושלים הקודש במהרה בימינו, ברוך אתה אדוני, בונה ורחמיו ירושלים, אמן. Top of 96. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, האל אבינו, מלכנו, אדירנו, בורנו, גולנו, יוצרנו, קדושנו, קדוש יעקב, רואינו, רואי ישראל, המלך הטוב והמיטיב לכל, שבכל יום ויום הוא היטיב, הוא מיטיב, הוא ייטיב לנו, הוא גם לנו, הוא גם לנו, הוא יגמלנו לעד. לכנו חסד ורחמים, ולרווחת צלה והצלחה, ברכה ברכה ישועה נחמה פרנסה וכלכלה, ברחמים וחיים ושלום וכל טוב, ומכל טוב לעולם אל יחסרנו. הרחמן הוא ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, הרחמן הוא יתברך בשמיים ובארץ, הרחמן הוא יתברך להשתבח לדורים, ויתפאר בנו לעד לנצח נצחים, ויתהדר בנו לעד ולעולי עולמים. הרחמן הוא יפרסנו בכבוד, הרחמן הוא ישבור עולנו מעל צווארנו, והוא יוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו. הרחמן הוא ישלח ברכה מרובה בזום מניין הזה, ועל שולחנות זאת, have all these tables and all this Zoom, שלחנו עליו. הרחמן הוא יברך את מדינת ישראל עם ירושלים עיר הקודש, ויביאן לגאולה שלמה. הרחמן הוא ייתן אחווה בין בני שרה ובין בני הגר. הרחמן הוא ישלח גאולה לכל ישראל הנתונים בצרה ובשביה. הרחמן הוא ישלח לנו את אליהו הנביא זכור לטוב. יבשר לנו בשורות טובות, ישועות ויחמות. Harachaman, hu yivarech otanu ve'et kol asher lanu. May the one who blessed this Seder bless everyone at every table at this Seder. And may all of you bless the people who are at all of your tables. כמו שנתברכו אבותינו אברהם יצחק יעקב בכל מכל כל ואימותינו שרה רבקה רחל ולאה כן יברך אותנו כולנו יחד בברכה שלמה ונאמר אמן. Page 97. במרום ילמדו עליהם ועלינו זכות שתהא למשמרת שלום ונישא ברחמי את אדוני וצדקה אלוהי אישנו ונמצא חן בשכל טוב בעיני אלוהים ואדם. מגדול ישועות יעקב יעשה חסד להמשיכו לדוד ולזרעו עד עולם. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. יראו את אדוני קדושיו כי אין מחסור לרעיו כפי רמשו ורעבו בדור שאדוני לא יחזיקו טוב. הודו לאדוני כי טוב כי לעולם חסדו פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל הרצון. ברוך הגבר אשר יבטח באדוני והיה אדוני נבטחו. Yai da 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 Adonai oz lima moiten Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
And now we do the third cup of wine. We pick up our cup of wine or grape juice. And this one will do a blessing from HIAS, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, with which CBST works so closely. As we do this blessing over the wine, I read a blessing from HIAS. As we remember our own liberation from bondage in Egypt, we express gratitude for the ability to work as God's partners in continued and continual redemption for today's refugees and asylum seekers. As our wine cups overflow in this moment of joy, we hold out hope for the day when every person in search of refuge in every corner of earth can recall a story of freedom, reflect on a journey to security from violence and persecution, and no longer yearn for a safe place to call home. Blessed are you, Holy One, who frees those who are oppressed. And now we say the blessing over the wine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. We have a very special reading right now and some words. We're on page 106 of the CBST Haggadah, where we arrive at the recitation of the V'hi She'amda. This promise has been reliable for our ancestors and ourselves. Not only was there once an enemy that tried to destroy us, in every generation there have been those who wish to destroy us, but the Holy One rescues us from their hands. And now I'd like to invite Rick Landman, who has his father's Haggadah from Germany, to read from it and offer a few words.
First, I found my Maxwell House deluxe edition. This is the Haggadah that my family, my mother and I, would read from. But this is the actual Haggadah of my father. And when he was learning how to write his name, he tried to write Heinz Landmann, but he didn't get it all out there. But this was the Haggadah he could pack in a lift to send to America after he got out of Dachau after Kristallnacht, and before America gave him a permanent visa to come to America. As an 18-year-old, he left Germany to live in London as an unaccompanied teenager by himself with a temporary transit visa, waiting for America to say that he could join his father, who got here in January of 1939. My father got here in November. And for many years, my father would read from his Haggadah in German on the first night. And on the second night, I would go to CBST and try my best to read the Vehisha Amda in German, which I will now try to do for you. Und da stand euch unseren Vätern und uns bei, denn nicht eine allein erhob sich, uns zu vernichten, sondern in jedem Zeitalter stehen Boshaften gegen uns auf, uns zu verderben. Doch der Heilige, gelobt sei er, rettet uns aus ihren Hand.
Thank you, Rick. And will you tell us, Rick, your parents' names? And your father's no longer alive, but you're still visiting your mother and taking good care of her. But tell us both of your parents' names.
Henry Landman, or Heinz Landmann, and he died 5 years ago in December. And Lisa Landman, my mom, is still alive, all by herself tonight in Queens.
Thank you, Rick. And Rick was part of starting a group of lesbian and gay sons and daughters of Holocaust survivors, and have done a lot to make sure that at CBST we always remember these particular shoulders of those who escaped from the Shoah, those who survived, and those who did not live, those who were killed. And Rick is an important part of the community in bringing this always to life. And here we are saying this. It's so moving to have you bring that Haggadah to our Sidarim, Rick. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
On page 109 of our Haggadah, in the words of the Jewish woman who lived in New York City in the 1800s, written now on the Statue of Liberty. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gate shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. And Joyce now will play a composition set to these words.
Joyce, I'm afraid you are muted. You're muted, Joyce.
This is the holiday that celebrates freedom, all the different pieces of it, and that poem and those words and music bring us to it, as do the words found on page 110. We celebrate all those who have struggled to move through oppression to freedom, from slavery to liberation, as we experience it even in our days. Page 110.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'd be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more moaning, no more moaning, no more moaning over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. They'll be singing, they'll be singing, they'll be singing over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. There'll be peace. There'll be peace. There'll be peace over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
Thank you so much, David. That was beautiful. Thank you. We now turn to page 118. And we have these two cups, the cup of Elijah and the cup of Miriam. So we come to the place where we will both say the blessing over Elijah's cup and the cup and Miriam's cup on page, we'll start with Miriam's cup on page 118. So Miriam's cup, remember, is the water of health and of nourishment and of keeping our hands clean. And let us recite on the top of page 118 if you have the Haggadah. In the years of wandering in the desert, Miriam's well accompanied the Israelites. According to tradition, Miriam's well is still with us. Every Saturday night at the end of Shabbat, its waters flow into the wells everywhere in the world. While the return of Elijah is left to the future and all its potential, Miriam is present with us now and always. She is here to provide healing, inspiration, and wisdom. She and her waters sustain us as we await Elijah. There is still a long journey to freedom, a long while before Elijah will herald the messianic time. Miriam the prophet calls us to work for and not just wait for that day. She sustains us with the most basic substance on earth, water that cleanses and heals. She lifts our hearts as she leads us once again in song and dance. Elijah's cup remains untouched by us, but now we drink from Miriam's cup the nurturing waters of Miriam's well. And we say the blessing, and then we sing on page 119.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehakol yeh bidvaro. Miriam haniviyah, oz hazimra beyada. Miriam tirkod itanu lehagdil zimrat olam. Miriam tirkod itanu letaken et haolam. Bimhera v'yamenu, hitivienu, el mei ha'yeshua, el mei ha'yeshua.
Sorry. I'm slow on that mute thing, unmute thing. Now we welcome Elijah Eliyahu, which, as the reading I just offered indicates, Elijah is the indicator of the world completely redeemed, the time for the world when things are completely at peace and justice reigns and all are equal. So for Elijah's cup, we have it here, and everybody has to open a door. But to welcome Elijah in, let's make sure if Elijah comes in, we have masks and gloves for Elijah should he come in, because we're practicing safe practices. Even if Elijah comes, the guy's got to put on a mask and he's got to wear gloves. Okay, so I've got mine. Do you have yours in case Elijah comes? I'm ready. Are you ready? Okay, you've got a matzah mask. Rabbi James has a matzah mask. Brian Gore, what do you have? Are you ready for Elijah? You never know. This might be the time, folks. I don't want anybody in my house that's not wearing a mask and gloves. Okay, Randy, is the door open? Yeah. Okay, the door is open. And so where's Elijah's cup? This is Elijah's cup. On page 122, we all sing.
Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Eliyahu Hagiladi. Bimhera v'yameinu yavo aleinu. Imashiach ben David, Imashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Eliyahu Hagiladi.
He didn't come here. Okay. Oh, well. Randy scared him away from our apartment. Okay, folks. Who found the afikomen? Anybody find the afikomen? Oh, Emmy Arams found the afikomen. Did Ron find it or Emmy? Emmy found it? All right, Emmy, you know you got to get Randy to negotiate for you. And Ryan found it. Anybody else find the afikomen? Randy, did you find the afikomen? Randy both hid and found the afikomen. That's, I would say, a very successful. She's got the afikomen. All right, everybody, because we have the afikomen, we can finish the Seder tonight. You guys are the best. You have to have your fourth cup of wine filled up as we finish Hallel. We will continue with Hallel, selections from Hallel, the last 4 Psalms of Hallel. My class will remember there are 6 Psalms in Hallel. The first 2 are before the meal, the last 4 are after the meal. And we go to page 124, Psalm 115.
ברך את בית אהרון, יברך יראי ארוני, הקטנים עם הגדולים, יוסף ארוני עליכם, עליכם ועל בניכם, ברוכים אתם לאדוני. עושה שמיים וארץ, השמיים שמיים לאדוני. לארץ נתן לבני אדם, לא המתים יהללויה. ולא כל יורד אומה, ואנחנו נברך יה. מעתה ועד עולם, מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah.
Page 127. And if while we're singing Hallel, you have any words of gratitude or thoughts or insights from the Seder, please share them in the chat. We'll read them out loud. Please offer any insights you have. Page 127.
Hallelujah, Adonai, kol goyim, shabechuhu, shabechuhu, kol ha'umim, ki gavar aleinu chasto be'emet, Adonai, le'olam hallelujah. Odu l'Adonai, ki tov, ki le'olam chasto, yomana, yomana, yomana Yisrael, ki le'olam chasto, yomruna, yomruna, yomruna bet Aharon, Ki le'olam chasto, yomruna, 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 yirei Adonai, ki le'olam chasto.
מן המצר קראתיה, ענני במרחביה. מן המצר קראתיה, ענני במרחביה. ענני, ענני, ענני במרחביה. ענני, ענני, ענני במרחביה.
On page 129, Ozi v'zimrat ya vayhi li lishua. My strength, my song is the Holy One who is my source of help.
Ozi v'zimrat ya vayhi lishua. 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 Ozi v'zimrat ya vayhi lishua.
Page 130, open for me the gates of justice. Open for me the gates.
פתחו לי שערי צדק, אהובה מוליה. פתחו לי שערי צדק אבוא ומודיה. זה אשר לאדוני צדיקים יבואו בו. זה אשר לאדוני צדיקים יבואו בו. עודך כי עניתני ותהי לי לישועה. עודך כי עניתני ותהי לי לישועה. אבן מסו הבונים הייתה לראש פינה. אבן מסו הבונים הייתה לראש פינה. מאת אדוני הייתה זאת, היא נבלעת בעינינו. מאת אדוני הייתה זאת, היא נבלעת בעינינו. זה היום עשה אדוני לגילה ונשמחה בו. זה היום עשה אדוני נגילה ונשמחה בו.
Page 131.
Please repeat each line after me. It's responsive. Even if I can't hear you, I will see you all doing it, and it's such a wonderful community. Ana Adonai Hoshiana.
Hoshiana.
Ana Adonai Hoshiana.
Hoshiana.
Ana Adonai Hatzlichana.
Hatzlichana.
Ana Adonai Hatzlichana.
Hatzlichana.
Forgetting to do that. Blessed all those who come in the Eternal One's name. We bless you in the Eternal One's house. Divine is the Eternal One who gives us light. Adorn the festive place with leafy boughs up to the corners of the altar shrine. You are my God. To you I offer thanks, my God, whom I revere. Give thanks to the Eternal who is good and whose love is everlasting. The fourth cup of wine on page 141. If you have it filled with wine, with grapefruit juice or wine for our fourth cup of wine. Awareness, redemption, and gratitude accompanied our first cups. This fourth cup is the cup of hope. Hope that next year we will be in person. Hope that next year we will be free. Hope that next year that children and parents, neighbors and nations will turn their hearts to one another. Hope that next year that children in cages on the border will be free. Hope that next year that ICE will no longer exist. Hope that next year that asylum seekers and refugee seekers will be welcomed into this country with open arms. Hope that next year there will be health insurance for all and that all will live in peace and equality and justice. Hope that next year Jerusalem will be a city of peace.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen. And before we sing some of our final songs, I want to read something that Marla says. I feel such a deep gratitude for this Seder tonight. Being in total isolation during this real plague has truly put a new spin upon hearing the plagues read tonight at Pesach. They feel real and present. Thank you for this chance to be with you and for the whole congregation that is my spiritual home. Thank you for those words, Marla. And we want to thank Bruce and Babette and Brent Roberts, who have been providing all the technical support tonight to make this work as well as it could possibly work, which we know is not perfect. And we're grateful for everyone's patience. My biggest sadness is that we can't have Joyce play with all of the music, and I so deeply miss that. So we have to learn what will we be able to learn from each of these pieces. So we want to thank everybody, and another thank you from Vicky, from my whole family, for this amazing virtual spiritual community. And somebody who's listening with relatives in Brooklyn and in Florida and in Boston who are together on a Zoom tonight, having a Seder together as part of our community Seder. So thank you all so much. And now we continue with what we've been waiting for. What page is it on? 136. We'll sing a couple of the songs of the Seder table, page 136.
Echad mi yodea, Echad ani yodea, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Sheba shamayim u'ba'aretz, Shenayim mi yodea, Shenayim ani yodea, Shnei luchot habrit, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Sheba shamayim u'ba'aretz, Shlosha mi yodea, Shlosha ani yodea, Shlosha avot shnei luchot habrit, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Sheba shamayim u'ba'aretz. Arba mi yodea, Arba ani yodea, Arba imahot, Shlosha avot shnei luchot habrit, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Sheba shamayim u'ba'aretz. Chamisha mi yodea, Chamisha ani yodea, Chamisha chomshei Torah, Arba imahot, Shlosha avot, Shnei luchot habrit, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Sheba shamayim u'ba'aretz. Shisha mi yodea, Shisha ani yodea, Shisha sidrei Mishnah, Chamisha chomshei Torah, Arba imahot, Shlosha avot, Shnei luchot habrit, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Sheba shamayim u'ba'aretz. Shiva mi yodea, Shiva ani yodea, Shiva yemei Shabta, Shisha sidrei Mishnah, Chamisha chomshei Torah, Arba imahot, Shlosha avot, Shnei luchot habrit, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Sheba shamayim u'ba'aretz. Shmona mi yodea, Shmona ani yodea, Shmona yemei milah, Shiva yemei Shabta, Shisha sidrei Mishnah, Chamisha chomshei Torah, Arba imahot, Shlosha avot, Shnei luchot habrit, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Sheba shamayim u'ba'aretz. Tisha mi yodea, Tisha ani yodea, Tisha yarchei leda, Shmona yemei milah, Shiva yemei Shabta, Shisha sidrei Mishnah, Chamisha chomshei Torah, Arba imahot, Shlosha avot, Shnei luchot habrit, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Sheba shamayim u'ba'aretz. Asara mi yodea, Asara ani yodea, Asara dibraya, Tisha yarchei leda, Shmona yemei milah, Shiva yemei Shabta, Shisha sidrei Mishnah, Chamisha chomshei Torah, Arba imahot, Shlosha avot, Shnei luchot habrit, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Shem HaShamayim u'Ba'aretz. Achad Asar mi yodea, Achad Asar ani yodea, Achad Asar kochvaya, Asara Shai, Shmona yemei Mila, Shiva yemei Shabta, Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, Chamisha Chumshei Torah, Arba imahot, Shlosha avot, Shnei luchot habrit, Echad leLoheinu, Eloheinu, 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 Shebashamayim u'Ba'aretz. Shnemasar mi yodea, Shnemasar ani yodea, Shnemasar shiftaya, Achadasar kochvaya, Asara dibraya, Tisha yercheleda, Shmona yemei Mila, Shiva yemei Shabta, Shisha sidrei Mishnah, Chamisha chumshei Torah, Arba imahot, Shlosha avot, Shnei luchot habrit, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Shebashamayim u'Ba'aretz. Shlosha Asar mi yodea, Shlosha Asar ani yodea, Shlosha Asar midaya, Shnemasar shiftaya, Chadasar kochvaya, Safara dibraya, Tisha yercheleda, Shmona yemei Mila, Shiva yemei Shabta, Shisha sidrei Mishnah, Chamisha chumshei Torah, Arba imahot, Shlosha avot, Shnei luchot habrit, Echad Eloheinu, 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 Shebashamayim u'Ba'aretz.
Well, that's one of the very famous counting songs that we have, and there are a lot of them, and this is one of the very famous one. Before we do Chad Gadya, just a couple of thank yous that people have written. From Donna, thank you for this beautiful Seder. It was much more connected and fulfilling than I could have imagined. And I put together a Seder plate for the first time in my life. Wonderful, Donna. From David, thank you. This was a meaningful way to be together with the community. I loved hearing all the traditional melodies, which many people at my family Seders don't know. So great to be here with my son and son-in-law in Brooklyn while we're in Chicago. Wonderful to have you with us. And another one, this was my family's first Seder. Isn't that amazing? This is your first Seder. We're so happy this is your first Seder. This is from Valerie, and it couldn't have come at a more timely moment. Thank you so much for arranging this, and we hope to meet you all in person sometime soon. And a big shout out to Ben, who spent the evening on the chat helping people negotiate where we were and to offer explanations. Thank you so much, Ben, for doing that. And from Dion, I'd like to read, I work in global health and colleagues have been sharing COVID-19 stories from around the world. One story that has really stuck with me was something a colleague from South Sudan shared. After border crossings closed to contain COVID a couple of weeks ago, people in Namula, a town on the border of South Sudan and Uganda, could no longer easily cross. One woman swam across the river right at its junction with the White Nile, which it flows into, with her baby on her back to pick up her supply of HIV medication. Wow, from Serena, not Dion. What an amazing image. Thank you for sharing that. So intense and appropriate for this Pesach time. From Meredith, thank you for all your hard work and keeping community together in these chaotic times. For just a moment, I forgot about all the hecticness and uncertainty in the quote unquote outside world. And I also put together a Seder plate for the first time. Fantastic. From Jared, I'm really happy to be here. When I visit the States, I'll have to come by. The Australia queer community needs more of this. Well, wonderful to have you with us tonight. And I think we have one more for them to read. Thank you, from CJ, thank you so very much. My family never observed to family and Holocaust trauma. This is my first Seder. I prepared the Seder plate and meal today. I probably did it all wrong, but it was a joy and blessing to observe with all of you tonight. Thank you again. Please add me to your email list. Well, thank you, CJ, for being with us. That's so meaningful, and we will add you. Ben, will you make sure that email address gets added? Thank you, Ben. And so many other, thank you for all the explanations. Somebody thanks Ben, thank you so much. And we turn to Chad Gadya on page 138, another counting song. So you wonder where Cole Porter got it from. another counting song in its own kind of way, and it counts, and we have to, it's not with numbers though, and we're going to sing it in English with the chorus in Aramaic.
Page 139. Chad Gadya, my father bought 4 tuzuzim. Chad Gadya. There came a cat and ate the kid. My father bought 4 tuzuzim. Chad Gadya. Then came a dog and bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought 4 tuzuzim. Chad Gadya. Then came a stick and beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought 4 tuzuzim. Chad Gadya. Then came a fire and burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought 4 tuzuzim. Chad Gadya. Then came a fire and burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought 4 tuzuzim. Chad Gadya. Then came water and quenched the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought 4 tuzuzim. Chad Gadya. Then came an ox and drank the water that quenched the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought 4 tuzuzim. Chad Gadya. Then came a slaughterer and killed the ox that drank the water that quenched the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought 4 tuzuzim. Chad Gadya. Then came the angel of death, who killed the shochet, who killed the ox that drank the water that quenched the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought 4 tuzuzim. Chad Gadya. Then came the Holy One and killed the angel of death, who killed the shochet, who killed the ox that drank the water that quenched the fire that burnt the stick that beat the dog that bit the cat that ate the kid. My father bought 4 tuzuzim. Chad Gadya.
We turn to page 141 for the conclusion. Awareness, redemption, and gratitude accompanied all of these cups, and that we finished with this cup of hope. And now we turn to page 142 to read this Primo Levi poem while we hold this cup. Primo Levi was a writer, a chemist before the war, and then he was in Auschwitz during World War II, and then survived, and he wrote this poem, Passover. Tell me, how is this night different from all other nights? How, tell me, is this Passover different from other Passovers? Light the lamp, open the door wide, so that the pilgrim can come in, Gentile or Jew. Under the rags, perhaps the prophet is concealed. Let him enter and sit down with us. Let him listen, drink, sing, and celebrate Passover. Let him consume the bread of affliction, the paschal lamb, sweet mortar, and bitter herbs. This is the night of differences, in which you lean your elbow on the table, since the forbidden becomes prescribed. Evil is translated into good. We spent the night recounting far-off events full of wonder. And because of all the wine, the mountains will skip like rams. Tonight they exchange questions, the wise, the godless, the simple-minded, and the child. And time reverses its course. Today flowing back into yesterday like a river enclosed at its mouth. Each of us has been a slave in Egypt, soaked straw and clay with sweat, and crossed the sea dry-footed. You too, stranger. This year in fear and shame, next year in virtue and justice. And let us say, Amen. Page 144. Oh, I have one more to read. From Simon and Sherry, such heartfelt gratitude to CBST and this moving Seder. Special thoughts and love to Rick Landman and his mom, connected with us all through our hearts. From Cindy, thank you. Our niece Liz from Lubbock, Texas. Wonderful to have you. And now we conclude the Seder on page 144. Now our Seder is completed, every requirement fulfilled. Just as we have been privileged to observe it this year, may we continue to do so in years to come. You who are pure, dwelling on high, raise up your countless people. Soon bring your offshoots strong, redeemed to Zion in joyous song. Next year, in person. Chag Sameach, everybody. Chag Sameach. A Zisin Pesach and a sweet, sweet holiday.
Lishana haba b'Yerushalayim, Lishana haba b'Yerushalayim, Lishana haba b'Yerushalayim, Lishana haba b'Yerushalayim b'Shalom, Lishana haba b'Yerushalayim, Lishana haba b'Yerushalayim, Lishana haba b'Yerushalayim. Leshana haba'a b'Yerushalayim b'Shalom.
Next year, may the city of Jerusalem and all cities in the world be a city of peace for all its inhabitants. Chag Sameach, everybody.